Right, good day everybody and welcome to grade 4 Natural Sciences. This is week 7. Right, my name is Mrs. Janneke de Klerk and I will be your natural science teacher from now on. I see here that Zoe, you said it's your birthday today. Oh, happy birthday and congratulations. I hope you have a shame it's a lockdown birthday, but yes, I hope you're enjoying it still. Everyone hear me fine? Quickly just type in the chat box, say yes. Thank you, Nokwanda. Okay, thank you guys. Right, now we are quickly going to take a peek at what we are going to learn today. Today we are specifically going to learn about living and about non-living things. Now, a lot of you might remember that you've done this before, and that is okay, because we'll do a lot of revision now. But for those of you who haven't done it, it's okay too. It's not a problem. We'll go through everything. Okay, this is part of term 1's work that we're doing revision on now. To look at the differences between living and non-living things and how to identify them. And then we are going to look at the 7 life processes. Okay, I'm going to name the 7 life processes to you. If you don't understand all of them, that's fine. It's just to give you a peek at what we are going to do today. Okay. The first thing we will look at is movement. Now, when we look at these 7 processes, it is all things pertaining to life, all things that are alive have to be able to do all of these 7 things for them to be classified as something that's living. So it's like a checklist. Okay, the first thing is movement. The next one is reproducing. Remember, if I said if you don't know the meaning, don't worry about it. We're going to look at it. The next one is sensing or sensitivity. The next one is feeding or nutrition. Then we will look at breathing or respiration. We are going to look at excreting. And the last thing in the seven life processes is growing. And now we're going to do a little activity on what is living and what is non-living. You're going to look through some pictures with me, and then you decide. I want to know what you think, if these things are living and non-living. So you will look at a picture and then you can type in your chat box to me, do you think it is living? And I'll read your answers. And if you say it is living, why do you think so? And if you say it's not living, then you have to tell me also, why do you say that? Let's look at the first paper. What's this? Flowers. What do you guys think? Is this a living thing or is it a non-living thing? You can quickly type in your chat box. For this part, there's no right or wrong answer, okay? You just tell me what you think. Right, Neo says it's a living thing. The rest of you, I need you guys to type some answers so we can hear what you say. Cherise also says it's a living thing. Now, can you guys tell me why you say that? What makes it living? Living, living, living. All of you say living, but I want to know why. Why do you say that? I mean, if we say we are living, we move and we breathe, but a flower, Shanice says it can grow. Well done. Okay, so most of you say that flowers are living things. Ah, Nokwanda, you clever. Nice. They grow, they breathe. Let's look at this. What about this? It's the ocean, right? Is the ocean a living thing or a non-living thing? I'm not speaking about the fish inside the sea. I'm speaking about the water. What do you guys think? The second picture. Do you think the water is living or no? Most of you say non-living, but it also moves. Why do you say it's non-living? What classifies it as non-living? Some of you have said that it is living. It can't breathe. Okay, so there's already something that some of you would say yes and some of you would say no. Let's look at the next one. A zebra. This one is an easy one. What do you guys think? Living or non-living? Living, living, living. Yes, this is definitely a living one, right? This is an easy one. Clouds. What do you think about clouds? Are they living or are they non-living? Most of you are writing non-living. Why do you say that? It can also move. It can bring rain. Can you give me an answer why you say it's not living? Is the only thing we look at to be able to breathe? Is that the only thing that classifies us as living? Or are there other things you also need to do to classify you as living? Let's look at our next picture. Eggs. Now this is a hard one. I would love to see your answers on this one. Is an egg a living thing or is it a non-living thing? Oh, here I get a lot of different answers. Some of you say yes, some of you say no. If you're feeling really bold today, you can type in the chat box why you think it is living or why you think it's not living. Oh, I get a lot of different answers. A lot of you are saying non-living and a lot of you are saying that it is living. Wow, this is something I think we can discuss a bit, but I'm not giving you the answers right now. Neo says there can be a baby chick, that's why. A lot of you are saying living now. Someone saying non-living, but inside the egg is living. Someone is saying it grows. It's living because there's a chick. How do you know there's a chick inside? How do you know that egg is fertilized? We eat eggs, right? The eggs that we eat, are they living? Is there a baby chick inside? That's something to think about. Okay. It's someone saying because it's in a nest. Let's look at the next one. A fire. Is a fire a living thing or is it a non-living thing? Not. So most of you say it's not a living thing. But it can breathe, it can move. What makes it a non-living thing? Okay, let's look at the next slide. A fish. That's an easy one, like the zebra, right? Is a fish a living thing or a non-living thing? Someone said non-living and most of you are saying living. Some of you are saying it doesn't eat, so it's not alive. Okay, but most of you say that fish is living. This one, this is mold that's growing on an orange. This is also a tricky one. Is mold alive? Anela, you say yes. Someone said no. Oh, a lot of differing answers again. A lot of you are saying yes, a lot of you are saying no. Some of you are saying yes because it grows. Living. It's like molded bread. Yes, it's the same as the mold on the bread. You are right. But is it alive? I'm not going to give you the answers to these questions. These are to make you think, okay? Okay. There are a lot of things that seem to be non-living. A lot of you answered on some of these questions. Not all of them are living, by the way, but a lot of you answered on some of the questions that they are non-living, but actually they were living. And we later during the week, we'll come back to this and look at it again. Okay, now we're going to look at the characteristics of living plants and animals. In other words, how can we classify them? How do we know when something is living and when something is not? Okay, although living things look different, they all carry out 7 similar processes. Now, already a lot of you mentioned some of those 7 processes, but not all of them. We call these 7 the 7 life processes. Something to be classified as living, all 7 of these life processes need to be present. Now, when I asked you before to look at the pictures, a lot of you gave me answers like, yes, it can move, or yes, it can breathe. But there are 7 things that they need to be able to do before you can classify them as living. If one of those 7 things they can't do, then it's a non-living thing, okay? So if it can do 1 or 2 things, it's still a non-living thing. If it can do 6 of the 7 processes, it's still non-living. It needs to be able to do all 7 of these processes. Now let's take a look at every single one of these life processes. We'll take them one by one. Okay, are you guys ready? The first one we're going to look at is movement. For an aspect or a thing that to need to be able to move, it needs to be able to move if it is living. All living plants and all animals move, right? Humans and animals use their bodies to move from one place to another. And the way that plants move is some of them turn towards the light or the water. A lot of them grow up to the light, so they move when they grow, or they shoot into the ground. And that's another way that they move, right? So we can look at the sunflower. That's a very good example. Do you guys know what sunflowers do when they see the sunlight? It's a very beautiful thing. And I would have loved to have shown you a video, but the sunflowers all turn their heads towards the sun. So they all look the same way. So they do move. And then, of course, people also move. Now, remember that we are looking here at elements that classify if something is alive or living, if something is living, right? So that these 7 life processes is like a checklist to see if something is classified as living. So the first thing we look at is, can it move? And we see that all plants and animals can move. Okay. The next one we're going to look at is reproducing. That's right. There's a very good answer. The plant moves towards the light and the roots move toward the water. That's absolutely right. So plants do move. So that's the one thing that they already can do. Now let's look at reproducing. All living things make offspring. Any living thing makes offspring. That means they make babies or they make seeds. All humans and animals can have babies. And then when we look at plants, some new plants can grow from seeds, or other plants grow from cuttings or from shoots. Here we have a little baby. It can have babies, and there's a cute little one that I thought a lot of you would like, a little cub. Okay, now, sometimes when you're in the kitchen, I'm going to speak about plants quickly, and maybe your mom has left a potato in a cupboard somewhere and forgot about it. What will happen? It will start to grow, right? So that can also happen. So plants can reproduce itself. It's like it has a little baby. The next one we are going to look at is sensing. But before we do that, let's quickly recap the first two things of what does something need to do to be able to be alive. What are the first two things we look at? Who can quickly type it for me? We looked at two things. They must be able to what and what. Can you quickly type in your chat box the first two things we just talked about? Yes, Zoe, good. They need to move, and what was and reproduce. Very good, guys. Something needs to move to be able to be classified as living, and it needs to be able to reproduce. Well done. Now, the third thing we are going to look at is sensing or sensitivity. Now, when we say that, we are not talking about feelings, but we are talking about a living thing that responds to activities in the environment and then they react to it. Like it's a living thing responds to any change that they sense. Like here's an example. When you are feeling cold, you put on a jacket. You respond to something in the environment. You feel cold and you put on a jacket. That's sensing. When it becomes winter, some animals hibernate. That's also sensing. Can you tell me quickly which animals that you can think of very quickly hibernate during winter? Quickly type in your chat box. A bear. That's right. Bears. Some birds. Snakes. Oh, I'm working with very smart students here. Well done. We'll see sensing take place in plants as well. And we can see it in autumn when the leaves of some of the trees change color, when they are starting to get ready for winter. And then some of you mentioned some reptiles as well. Reptiles like to lie and bask in the sun on a cold winter's day. They are also sensitive, or sensing takes place. Remember that reptiles are cold-blooded creatures. They can't regulate their own body temperature. Not like us. We are mammals and we are warm-blooded, right? So a reptile will go bask in the sun so that he can absorb the heat and the energy. Like this little one. He was feeling cold, so he went to go bask in the sun. This relates to sensing. And that's the one we spoke about, where trees change color, leaves change color during autumn. Okay, so living things need to be able to move, reproduce, and sensing or sensitivity. There's another example I can give you of this. Some flowers react to the light, they open up, and when it becomes night or dark, they'll close up. So that's also sensing. When a flower closes when it's dark, but it opens up when it is light. Okay, the fourth one, I think it's the fourth one now, right? We are looking at is breathing or respiration. All living things needs to be able to breathe. Now, living things breathe in gases, in and out. Now, we use oxygen, and animals as well, from the air that we breathe in. And then we release carbon dioxide when we breathe out. So we breathe in oxygen, and when we breathe out, we release carbon dioxide. A plant is just the other way around. A plant takes in carbon dioxide into their leaves, and then they release oxygen for animals and humans to use. So I just think it's just amazing how the whole atmosphere, the whole world and nature work together, right? We can get so much from plants. Do you see this? Remember, humans, we use oxygen and we release carbon dioxide, where a plant takes in carbon dioxide into their leaves and they release oxygen for us so that we can breathe. So it's always a good thing to have a lot of trees because it releases oxygen. And there you will see it. So we work together with plants, right? So again, let's look quickly. Remember, for something to be alive, they need to be able to move. They need to be able to reproduce, sensing, breathing. They need to be able to breathe. And then the next thing we will look at is feeding or nutrition. And that's something I think all of us love to do, especially now when we're on lockdown and the fridge seems to be so close to us all the time. Okay, all living animals and plants need food. Now, food gives all living things the energy that we need. If you didn't eat for a couple of days, how would you feel? I think it would still be okay for maybe 1 or 2 days, but after that, you're going to feel sluggish and you're going to feel sleepy. We need food, right? So do plants. Plants can make their own food for energy in their leaves and their stems. Tell me what that is called. When plants make their own food, it's a very big English word. Do you guys know? You can type in your chat box. What do you call it when green plants make their own food for energy in their leaves and in their stems? Ah, Adlejas, that's your name. Photosynthesis, that's right. It's a big word. Well done. Daisy, okay. Right. Humans and animals eat plants to get energy. And this little girl says, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. What is yours? And then there's a little picture of a boy also eating. So let's quickly recap again. Can any one of you name 4 of the things that we've discussed? That is right. Plants need water and nutrition found in fertilizer as well. That is right. They need to feed. Can you quickly name 4 things that we've already discussed? Breathing, good. Feeding, sensitive or sensing, good. One more. What do we all do? When we go outside, we breathe, yes. And when you kick a ball, what do? There we go, movement. Well done. You guys are listening really, really well. Okay, let's carry on. The next one is excretion. All living animals and plants have to get rid of waste products inside your body, right? Humans and animals have to get rid of waste products from their bodies, and we have special organs in the body that help us to get rid of waste, such as our lungs, our kidneys, and our skin. And plants get rid of waste water through the process of transpiration. Now, transpiration is the process of water movement through a plant, and it is basically like a plant sweating. Like we sweat when we move and when we run, a plant can do the same. Now, here's a picture of a horse, and if you can look closely, you'll see that the horse is shiny because it is sweating from all that running. So sweating is also excretion. Okay, the next one we are going to look at is growth. All living things grow. Human and animal babies grow into adults, and seedlings grow into plants. There you go. There's a seedling and it's growing. And there's a picture of a little boy that became a toddler, that became a teenager, that became a young man, that probably became a father, and then hopefully a grandfather. So to be classified as living, the growth needs to take place. Okay, so those were the 7 things. Let's quickly see if you guys can name them. Can you quickly type in your chat box? Let's see how quickly you can name them. Oh, Jodo, good. Breathing, feeding. Well done. It doesn't help if you only type 1. I want you to try and type more than 1. Let's see if you can type all 7. Okay, I see a lot of you remember moving, growing, and breathing. Excretion, right? What about something that you put in your mouth? Something that we all need and want every day. Maybe sometimes we want it more than we need it. Yes, feeding. Well done. Okay. Oxygen, yes, we need to breathe. Now we are going to look at some more pictures. And you have to tell me which of the following is a living thing. Oh, sorry, not pictures. You are going to answer these questions for me. Excuse me. Okay, is a worm a living thing? A house? A baseball? Or a car? This is a very easy question. Let's quickly see what you say. You can type in your chat box. Remember, for it to be living, it has to be able to do all of the 7 processes. Okay, not only 6 or 5 or 4, it needs to be able to do all of them. Okay, all of you got that one right. That was a very easy one, right? A worm. Oh no. Who's saying a car? Next question. A living thing eats, grows, moves, reproduces, and it has size, it has water, it has senses, or it has skin. Which one do you say? All living things eat, or a living thing eats, grows, moves, reproduces, and has size, water, senses, or skin. Let's see, most of you are right. It seems like all of you are right. Come, I need some more answers before I carry on to the next one. Okay, the answer is dun, 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 senses. Remember we said that leaves will turn color, or when you are cold, you will put on a jacket. It's something that you respond to, something in nature that happens, and then you respond to it like a reptile that needs a little bit of heat on a nice stone. Okay, next question. A living thing does all of the following except there's one thing. A living thing does all of the following except eat, except grows, except moves, except lives forever. Okay, so read the question nicely. A living thing does all of the following except one thing. It seems like these questions are way too easy for you guys. I'm going to have to step up a bit with this. Good. All of you are right. A living thing does all of the following except lives forever. Good. Next question. Which of the following is an example of a non-living thing? Which of the following is an example of a non-living thing? A bird, a ball, a cat, or a dog? Good. The answers are coming through, so I'm reading all of them quickly. See, we start easy with the questions because we are going to build on this, right? Because later on during the week, you'll see it's not that easy anymore. Then you really have to know all of these 7 processes to know if something is living or not. And the answer, you are all correct, is ball. Okay, which of the following best defines reproduce? To eat food, to stay alive, is that what it means? Or does it mean breathing in air? Yes, I know you guys did this in school, so we are reviewing everything you did in school. Does it mean to move back and forth? Or does it mean to make one of its own kind? Quickly type your answer. Which of the following best defines reproduce? It means to eat food to stay alive, breathing in air, to move back and forth, or to make one of its own kind. Good job, you guys are clever. I'm proud of you. So you can, those of you who've done this in school can go back and tell your teachers, oh, you've looked at what you've learned again and you could remember. That's a good sign. There we go. To make one of its own kind. That is what reproduce means. Our last question, I think, is how many life processes are there? Are there 3? Are there 4? Are there 7? Or are there 9? Oh, the answers are coming through quickly, you clever bunch. And the answer is 7. Okay, now it is your turn. You are, sorry, excuse me. You're going to look at this picture and I want you to write down the living and the non-living things in 2 columns. Now let's quickly look at everything that you see. In the picture, I can see a tree, I can see clouds, I see a bench, I see grass, a lot of books, a boy and a girl, flowers, a cute little dog. So I want you, there's not only one non-living thing, there's more than one. So I want you guys to quickly write in your chat box. What things do you see that are living things and what things do you see that are non-living? Oh, I only said 2 things so far. A tree and a book. A boy and a girl, good. If you type a word, you have to tell me, is it living or non-living, okay? So just write next to it living things and then you can write the answers, or you can write non-living things and write the answers. Good. Good. Don't only write girl. Tell me, is girl living or is girl non-living? Just write it next to each other so I can see your answers, okay? Remember about clouds. Remember, good, Zinzi, books and pens. Bench is non-living. The girl, yes, she's living. The flower is what? Living or non-living? Zoe said non-living things, books, cloud, branch, oh, bench, sorry. The dog and the two kids are living. What about the sun? What do you guys think? Is the sun living or is it non-living? Elijah, living things, boy and girl, dog, trees, and non-living, the bench, the grass, books, clouds, and sun. Let's quickly look at the grass. Let's speak about the grass. Let's look at the 7 life processes. Can grass move? Yes, it can move because it grows up and it grows down. Can it reproduce? Yes, if you plant them, they will grow. Can they sense? Yes, they respond to sunlight or things in the atmosphere. Do they need nutrition? For sure, yes, they do. Water and other things to grow. Respiration takes place, or breathing. Remember what we said about plants and carbon dioxide and oxygen. Excreting takes place and it grows. So grass is definitely a living thing. Okay, most of you got a lot of these answers right. Very good. Now we are quickly going to just recap on what we did today. Remember that all 7 of the life processes must happen for something to be living. So we can't just look at something and think, oh, this thing is moving, so it must be living. Or we can't look at something and think, this doesn't seem to move because I can't see it move, so it must be non-living. We have to look closely and see if all the 7 life processes happen. Not only 6 or 5, all of them have to happen for something to be living. If something does not carry out all 7 life processes, then that thing is non-living. Okay, an example. If you think of a river, you may notice that it moves and it grows, but a river does not sense or feed or excrete or breathe or reproduce. So it is non-living. Now remember when we looked at the sea in those first pictures, the answer there would be non-living because it doesn't breathe, it doesn't feed, it doesn't excrete, it doesn't reproduce. And that was it for today's lesson. Now, before I invite you to tomorrow's lesson, I want you to quickly think about the 7 things again. I'm going to name them. Movement, something needs to be able to move. Something needs to be able to reproduce. Something needs to be able to sense. Something needs to take in nutrition or feed. It needs to be able to breathe. It needs to be able to excrete. And it needs to be able to grow. Now, tomorrow, we are going to carry on with this, but we will look at some more interesting things. We will look at things that seem to be non-living, but they are not. They are actually living. Jodaf, thank you for the list that you are right in all of your answers. Wow. She gave a long list of everything that's living and non-living. Well done. Okay. That's it for you guys. So tomorrow we're going to do a lot more exercises and speak about interesting things that seem to be non-living, but they are not. And we'll hear what you guys have to say about it. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I hope to see all of you tomorrow. Have a great day.